Get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Halona Black. This is our usual Wednesday AM meditative writing circle. This is a nurturing space for Black women writers who want to get back in touch with their writing. And today we're talking about the topic of transition as we are entering, it's early in the month of December, obviously the end of the year, and we're looking towards the beginning of the year. We just want to talk a little bit about time and our relationship to it, or write about time and our relationship to it to help us to realize what it is that we're doing with our time, how it is that we'd like to spend our time, and all sorts of other things. But as always, I like to be able to begin with a very short meditation. And how meditation works, I see there's maybe a couple of you who are new here for the first time. I generally turn my video off when I do meditation, just so that it helps me to forget what I'm looking at on the screen and help me to focus on what it is that I'm doing for myself. So I sit comfortably wherever you are. If you can put the bottom of your feet on the floor, or you could sit cross-legged if that's more comfortable where you are. And you just place your hands or your arms comfortably in your lap, however that looks like for you. And you can sit up with your spine straight, not so straight that you feel discomfort, but you just want to be sitting up in that attention. And what I like to do sometimes is I might put my right hand over my heart just to be able to sync my breath with my heart rate. Sometimes, we're transitioning from one space to another, and we just want to jump right into what it is that we're doing. So we just want to take just a moment to be able to sync the breath with the heart rate. Find out where your heart rate and your breath is, and just take a moment to calm down. If you start from your top of your head, you can just start to drop some of that anxious energy you might have early in the morning or wherever you are in the world. Pay attention to how your jaw feels. Is your jaw clenched? Give yourself permission to relax that for a moment. And relax your shoulders and your neck. And just continue to breathe normally on your own. And you can just sort of feel the energy start to come down towards the floor. Helping you to feel centered. You're safe in your space. And we're ready to welcome whatever thoughts are available to us this morning for our writing. And when you are ready, you can turn your video back on. If you'd like to turn your video on. Turning your video on is an option. You don't always have to do that. I know it's early in the morning for some of us. But yeah, I'm so glad to see so many faces. Some of you are new faces, and some of you have been here since day one. So thank you. I've actually been doing this since March of this year. Almost every week, every Wednesday, we've met. Um, yeah, so thank you all so much for coming in. I'm so glad to see there are so many other Black women who are interested in writing. So today we are talking about transition, the topic of transition. And the way this usually works is I usually have a grander topic. The grand topic of the day is transition and our relationship with time. I'll generally have 3 points, and with those 3 points, I'll have a journaling question for which we'll spend 5 to 7 minutes just journaling about, and then we'll have time to share. If you'd like to share, you're welcome to. I'm always welcome. You can write, what it is that you've written down on your paper, or you can just sort of give a summary of what it is that you were thinking about. That's also fine too. You're not forced to share. This is not school. You can do however you'd like. But if you do like to share, I just ask that everyone be respectful of what it is that other people are saying. And if you have comments, you're welcome to comment on what other people are saying as well. So today, 3 points about transition and time. First point is that at least in my opinion, I think that we have more time than what we believe that we have. We spend a lot of time running around believing that our time is scarce. And it's not that it's necessarily scarce, it's just that we have an issue with prioritizing what's important to us. We feel like our time is scarce when we are allowing other people to schedule our time um, instead of really getting in touch with what it is that we want to be able to do with our lives. Usually, we learn that in school, we learn that at work. We learn that from our parents' example of them telling us what it is that we have to do. And sometimes we forget that as we get older, we're allowed to change, we're allowed to do other things. So time management really is about priority rather than thinking about scarcity. So our first journal question is, think about a current or upcoming transition in your life, and how can you reframe your relationship with time to feel less rushed or pressured? I'll repeat it. Think about a current or upcoming transition in your life. How can you reframe your relationship with time to feel less rushed or pressured? And I'll go ahead and I'll write the question in the chat. And I'll put 7 minutes on the clock. One more minute. All right. So the question is, think about a current or upcoming transition in your life. How can you reframe your relationship with time to feel less rushed or pressured? Christine says, since I'm already practicing being less pressured, my recommendation is to give people the impression that you're not dependable. This has worked marvelously for me in the past 2 years. I've gotten less requests and more time freedom. I love it. I'm not available. I'm not available. I'm not even dependable. So don't even ask.
Yes, thank you very don't even and it has worked because now people are like, oh, I can't depend on her or she won't be able to do it. And so that's the impression that because I've always been being a first daughter, first child, I've always been very dependable. And I realized if I do the opposite, then people just don't bother to ask anymore. So it's worked. Yeah.
You get your time back. A lot of times, and you're right. We lose our time because we make ourselves available to things that we don't want to be available to, and so really that's our own fault. We gave the impression. We gave the impression that we were available for other people's needs instead of spending it on our own. So you're right. Take your time back. I'm not available. I'm not dependable. Don't even ask. Would anyone else like to share? Danielle?
I won't read it because I wrote a lot, but I'm transitioning into moving into a smaller space to expedite my career break. And I've just given myself anxiety getting ahead of the process in terms of, am I really doing this? What kind of small spaces are available? I still have 4 months on my lease. It's not even time to really start looking yet. And I've gotten myself ahead of the process. And so sitting here this morning, my reframe is just simply to look back over every transition when I had less resources, where I wasn't planning it, the transition just happened, and God always made a way. And so I'm like, okay, why would this be any different? I know He's in this process. Again, times when I was against the wall with zero, didn't kicking and screaming into a transition, and a way was made. So my reframe is just to pause, enjoy the moment, and know that it's going to unfold. The right location at the right price is going to be available to me in the right time.
Exactly. We have more resources than I think that we realize. Especially after you get to a certain age, you have more resources as far as money, just your own experience. And if you don't have the money, you can figure out how to go and get it in some way, shape, or form.
I literally wrote that down. I have more money, resources, and experience than ever in my whole life. Like, why am I stressing? Why am I on Craigslist at midnight looking at places that I'm not ready to move into yet. What is happening? Like, go to sleep, girl. Like, what's the problem?
Because our brain likes to trick us into believing that that we somehow have less, or like there's a dearth of apartments, or places that you're gonna not find the absolute last apartment that's available. There's apartments all over the place. Then you'll be fine, like you always are. Thank you so much, Danielle.
I'd like to share.
Yes, Sakai.
See where I wrote it at. Okay, I wrote I need to continue my attempts to block my time because I'm a visual learner. If I don't see it on the paper, be I will need to be at an appointment and I'm somewhere else doing something spontaneous. So I need to do that with digital reminders. And I need to seek divine wisdom so that I can be more practical.
Mhm.
Like I will add new stuff, not knowing that adding new things, you need to take that dance class off because you signed up for this academic track. You can't do everything. So I
Mhm.
need to not be so idealistic and turn to the calendar, look at it and stuff. That's not my natural way, but I've learned that my way is not working so well.
Mhm.
But thank you for having this topic because all yesterday I was on the computer writing out a calendar and putting stuff in. So it's the right time for me for this.
Mhm. Yeah, just to reprioritize your time. I actually did that too this weekend, and I really didn't connect that activity to the topic for the week. I really just picked stuff out of the air, and then I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, looking at your calendar and blocking things out, and you have to sit down and really think about what's important to me. If I got nothing but these 1, 2, or 3 things done in this time frame, what would that be? What do I want that to be? So sometimes some of the extra stuff that we have going on, it has to go. It doesn't mean that it has to be permanent. It has to go permanently. The dance classes might come back in a minute. But for right now, you're focused on doing other things. So that's important. Anyone else? We can have one more person share before we move on to the next question. Well, I'll share mine. One of the things I just said that I was doing a work schedule, but I've also been training for a marathon, and I had been killing myself because either not a marathon, but a half a marathon. I have been training, and either I'm killing myself with thinking that I don't have enough time to be able to get to the level of strength that I want to be able to do to complete it. And that just it messes up my mind. So what I did was the race is on January 5th, so I had to sit down and make myself a schedule during the month of November. Like, and I've been running and walking for a number of years, but wrapping my head around having to complete a half a marathon has just been a lot for me. And so just my nervousness and trying to prepare for it, I just decided to sit down and say, well, what do I have to do to be able to get myself to the level of strength that I need to get to be able to complete a half marathon in a certain amount of hours. And so I did that. I wrote that down, and that made me feel more relaxed about what it is that I'm doing with my time instead of just getting up and winging it, which is what I usually do. I'll just go outside. I'm not really concerned about how far I'll go, or I'll go by how I'm feeling. But when I have the schedule written down, I say, okay, I have to do a certain number of kilometers this particular week or this particular day. Now I know what I am planning for, and when the day comes, I'll feel a lot more comfortable. I can just go and actually enjoy the race instead of feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna die before we get before I get to the end of the race. So that managing your time helps, at least for me, helps me to feel like I'm more in charge of my life. I have more flexibility about how it is that I'd like to spend my time than what I believe. So let's see. Next question. The next point I wanted to make is that dates are arbitrary. The calendar really, if we think about it, is a human construct, and we attach ourselves to it to certain dates, like the end of the year. If we haven't done something by the end of the year, then we want to punish ourselves for not having completed a thing. Or if you don't make it to a particular deadline, and in all, in certain situations, deadlines are important, but when it becomes an overall marker for success, we tend to beat ourselves up if we don't meet other people's expectations. So the question is, if you could let go of the pressure of time, meaning deadlines, upcoming dates, or whatever, what would you focus on doing today in your transition process? If you could let go of the pressure of time, what would you focus on doing today in your transition process? I'll put 7 minutes on the clock. One more minute. Right. Would the ladies, do you want, when you write your comments, do you want me to read it or do you want to read it for yourself? Or did you just want to share it? I'm not sure. You just want to leave it as a chat. Either one is fine. Or if anyone else would like to be able to share their writing, I'd love to hear it.
You can go ahead and read mine, thanks. I'm still getting ready for work, so
Okay.
I'm in
No
between.
problem.
Okay.
I can read it. Christine says, I currently have a December 9th deadline for something, but I'm focusing on a more personal project that will definitely benefit me and others more. It's a mind shift to do for yourself before doing for others. When you've practiced service to others for so many years, you have to recognize that it's time to have service time to self before there is no time left. Absolutely, you do have to service yourself first. That's really quite similar to what it is that I wrote for myself. I said that I like to feel spacious in how it is that I use my time. And usually that if I like to begin the day and end the day with myself. And that helps me to feel more spacious in how it is that I'm spending the time on other projects and other people. So that I don't like to feel like I'm forced to do something. You know, so if I start the day with taking care of myself and end the day with taking care of myself, then I feel like the most important parts of the day have already been taken care of. And so that gives me the energy to be able to tend to whatever else needs to be tended to outside of myself. Kathy, did you want to say something?
Yes, I wrote one thing, but started thinking about another thing right before we were finished. But basically I was saying the question was about letting go of pressure. And I started realizing that if I have fun doing the things that I want to do, then I'm not feeling pressure to getting something done right on time or at a self-imposed deadline. And I thought of this probably yesterday that yeah, it needs to be enjoyable. So much that we do is not enjoyable. But we have to do it, or we feel we have to do it, even though it's not enjoyable. That stems from going into the job, and we've got education, we've got experiences, skills, and abilities, but sometimes all of that stuff isn't enjoyable in a certain context. So how do I make it enjoyable so that the time moves easily and I'm not feeling stressful? And I think that is somehow I've been trying to change that. and with the time that I have available, I
Mhm.
can try to practice that.
Mhm.
So that's what I came up with.
Yeah, things need to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've made that a priority. If it's not fun, or if there's not some element of fun, or I have to, if I don't enjoy it in some way, shape, or form, then I have to work on getting it out of my life and out of my calendar.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
If I'm not, yeah, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. That's kind of
mhm,
a motto of mine. It's
mhm,
almost a mantra,
yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, because I know I started off saying that, we have more time than we think, but not, I don't have time to waste. There's a difference between the two. I have more time. I have time to be able to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy, but I think I've spent enough of my life and my years in my life doing things that I don't want to do, or being places where I don't want to be, or being places where I felt unappreciated. So it's important for me to be able to figure out, how do I want to spend my time? What is feels fun for me? Because at the end of at least for me, at the end of my life, I want to be able to feel like, my time was well spent on things that I enjoyed. I gave what I had to give, and now it's time to go.
May I read mine?
Yes, Carolyn.
How's everybody today?
Doing
Good?
well, thank you.
Yes. I'm a big science fiction fan. The Outer Limits was one of my favorite television shows. Well, one of the favorite television shows of my youth. The opening line was, "We will control the horizontal and the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity." I'm enjoying this stage in my life because I control the horizontal and I control the vertical. I roll the image, I make it flutter. I change the focus to a soft blur. I also sharpen it to crystal clear. It is in that moment that I become activated. Today, I'm moved to go to the movies and watch Denzel Washington earn his money.
I love that.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
You said today you moved to go to the movies. You said you go to the movies to go watch Denzel earn his money.
That's what he's doing.
I love it. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I'll share mine, what I
Mhm.
wrote. If I would let go of the pressure of time today, I would focus on visualizing the end of the transition, having already completed it, how I'd feel and how smoothly it's going to go. So that can be the case for the entire process. Less focus on the doing and taking nervous action, and more on feeling through the ideal experience to make sure that that is what is going to be the outcome, and to let go of the anxiety and the fear of any unknowns.
I especially like the letting go of the fear and the anxiety around the time. Again, a lot of these things around time we put on ourselves. It's the fear and the anxiety is unnecessary. That's time that could be better spent on more, I guess, more productive, more positive feelings. So yes, that's super important. Paying attention to what it is that's giving you anxiety and seeing how you can transition out of that. Thank you so much. Deetra, I see you. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Hi, Halona. How you doing?
Good morning. Let's see. Well, let's go into our third and final question of the morning. The third point is that we're always in a point in a position of transition. So change is a constant that we always have to be prepared for. And we're always evolving into our next version of ourselves. So when we learn how to embrace the present moment, the feeling of transition becomes more empowering rather than feeling like, we're in a state of limbo all the time, or, we don't know what's going to happen. And, all of that fear and the anxiety that I think it was either was Candy or Sakai had said that we were too worried about. And so life feels more like we're on a journey, that we're in the middle of a process, as opposed to being punished for the transition that we're going through. So the question is, how can you honor where you are in your transition without rushing to the next stage or worrying about where you're supposed to be? How can you honor where you are in your transition without rushing to the next stage or worrying about where you're supposed to be? One more minute. All right. So the question is, how can you honor where you are in your transition without rushing to the next stage or worrying about where you're supposed to be? Anyone would like to share? Yes, Tree.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
So for me, it's trying to be less serious and thinking that everything is so like heavy and weighty. And, I have things like how I don't want to continue living where I'm living, even though my partner wants to or needs to be there for a couple more years. So I'm just traveling around right now and I'm enjoying it, even though I wasn't supposed to be traveling by myself right now. But my guy had a family emergency. His dad's health took a turn. So he left me in London and traveled all the way to Australia, like in one day. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be by myself, probably for Christmas, but I'm just focusing on having a good time, knowing that everyone that I love is happy that I'm happy and they can see that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to focus on everybody's okay. I call my mama, I text my sisters. I need to text one of my nieces later because she asked me something and that made me feel good that she wanted my opinion of it. So just just living my life, spending too much money, knowing that, that'll resolve itself. I'll go back to Bangkok and eat my $2 meals for a couple months and everything will reset. So just trying to be happy and do things that make me happy. And people comment like, you look so happy, and that means a lot to me. So yeah, that's what I'm not on a timer or anything. So yeah, just right now I'm feeling good.
Mhm. So being in the present moment and making a decision to be happy where you are is basically what you're doing. Yeah, that's important you just have to make it's a decision. It is what it is. You probably like for other things to be able to happen, but they're not. So you just have to decide to be happy where you are with what you have. And I love that you've decided to spend money until you go back to Bangkok, where life is going to be a little bit cheaper, and the money will come back to you, and it'll work out. I love that. Thank you, Tree. Kathy, did you have your hand up?
Yes, yeah, I agree with everything Trine said. I was gonna say that basically you honor yourself, or I honor myself in the present. Even, at the beginning of a new transition, and instead of thinking about what you have to look forward to in the front, you be grateful for the now. And so that what you said, to wrap it up in a few words, is be happy now. Being happy now, right now. And in the moments, the minutes, the hours and days, just be happy now. And the rest will come just like everything else came. So that's how I remind myself. It's a practice. It's a practice. You just be happy now, chill out. This is good right now. This is so good. And knowing that your family train is pretty much on board, everybody's in the know, but it has nothing to do with them really. It's the good vibrations that they are putting out there for you to catch, for you to catch on to. Just be happy now. Be happy with with yourself. So that's how I figure it out.
That's beautiful. Be happy now. You don't have to wait for permission to be happy. For me, I wrote down about, I like to pay attention to how artists or creative people spend their time. And I think that goes along with being deciding that you're happy. But if with all of us, I look at life. The everyday life that you live is an art project, if you will. And so if you pay attention to people who are painters or singers, dancers, or what have you, just how much time and energy they put into the unfolding of their skill, how much time and effort they put into learning what it is that they're doing and paying attention to how far it is that they've come, and making decisions about what it is that they'd like to be able to learn or where they'd like to go with what it is that with their creations. And really we can all do that, whether we make art in the traditional sense or, we're just living a day-to-day life doing other things. Just paying attention to your life as an art project, I think is helping me to realize that one, I don't really need to compare myself to how other people are living their lives, because my life has its own sort of unfolding. And the unfolding for each individual person is its own miracle in and of itself. And so if you relate to yourself as your own particular miracle, you don't compare miracles. You just don't. You don't have to. You can stay where you are and just be proud of where you are, and continue to be in to continue to work where it is that you are, so that you can your life will unfold in the way that you want it to. Anyone else? Dietrich, did you want to say something?
Yeah, this is a beautiful class, workshop. I do want to say that. And this is, I think, my second time here for a while. And I'll try to make it the other Wednesdays, but mine's sort of different. And I guess that's why I tuned in today. So I just wrote just a little small paragraph. My transition is connected to the world, pretty much how the world views me and how that impacts how I view myself. As I get older, I try to ignore what the world thinks of me and try to focus that I'm still walking on this earth and I am so much wiser. Who am I now? As Tupac said, a rose that grew from concrete. However, as I'm still battling to be the new me in this new chapter, I'm still battling to be the new me in this new chapter of my life. And so I think that's where this transition is coming from. You know, yeah, I'm older, you know, I like my quiet time, but I'm still here. I'm still a Rose. You know, I'm still here. I still got ideas. I still have projects, but it's a battle. It's a battle with outside my space. I think. If that makes sense.
So you feel like you're going through a battle? Is that what you said?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly if you have a project that's for the world, for your market, whatever, you know, and yeah, it's a battle. It's you know, because I'm older, I'm wiser, I know how to handle it, but it's still impactful. And sometimes it's majority of the time it's negative. So right now, during this transition, I'm just trying to come to a place where I can I've gotten better where I can navigate or just let it just roll off of me or what have you. Um, you know, some of my projects are spirituality now and has really opened the door to all types of faith. And one of the things that I study the people, one of the things that I if any, I'm not a Christian, but I am fascinated with some of the people that are in the Bible, like Harold, if I'm saying that right, how he ridiculed Jesus and Jesus didn't say anything. He just looked at him, talked about his mama, you know, his mother, his father, and everything. This guy was about to be crucified. There's a lot of people, you know, even Martin Luther King, if you want to go there, you know, even Rosa Parks, or even the woman before Rosa Parks, Colleen, they just, you know, no, you know, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and just let the word bounce off of you. So that's what I'm trying to navigate.
Excellent. Thank you. And it's worth the effort to be able to be who you are in your process. I've always found it's worth it. It might feel like it's a battle at some places with certain people and certain company. But the battle of fighting for who you are is important. It's always a battle that's worth it. So, Kai, did you want to say something?
Yes. I wanted to say I love this meeting, and it's just making me think about things and go places I would not normally go, because I go through life usually rushed. So the question actually stumped me. I'm like, I just put a question mark. The question stumped me. I know it looks like a simple, how can I honor where I am in my transition without rushing to the next stage when I rush all the time? So I think how for me is going to start with meditating more, just being still, calm my little self down. Because if I'm just doing, I can't be. So that's my first step, just to honor that and sit still so I can see where I am, see that I exist. And then just looking at my surroundings, spiritually, including spiritually. And as I started to think like that, I was like, yeah, then insight will come after that to see where I am. And then I know then the creative solutions will come. And I have to be vulnerable. That's a step for me to do, to be vulnerable, to accept what the universe is telling me versus not liking it, then get up and start running again. And then as I was thinking that, I saw, had an impression of like, if you do like a timeline or a little graph, the universe will start telling me where I am and where I am in the transition. And that'll like balance me and stabilize me. So I love the question, even though I hated it first because I had nothing. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so important to be able to sit still. We want to create answers instead of just allowing answers to come. and sitting still and just allowing things to come to you. It takes so much pressure off of your shoulders. Like you
Yes.
don't have to create everything.
Yes. Halona, I actually wrote about that. Can I read that really quickly?
Sure.
For me, the completion of my will put me in an altogether different state of mind. It freed me to live without concern about the earthly cares and opened the door for me to enjoy my afterlife more fully. It is important that I take time to be grateful. Remaining in the bosom of thankfulness has a calming effect. Relinquish the need for control. Rather, choose a perspective that puts you in an ancestral classroom. Listen to what your spirit guides have to say. Ask for your assignment. Imagine your purpose, and then move with intention. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
I like how you said ask for your assignment.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ask, you have to ask for something. Ask for what it is that you want, so it'll put you in a direction of purpose.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, ladies. All right. Well, it's 7 minutes past the hour. Thank you so much for staying on a couple minutes extra so that people can share. Let's see, what else? So for people who are watching the replay on YouTube, if you want to be able to join the group, you are welcome to. You can click on the link in the description and put in your name and your email address, and you'll get the weekly updates. Just to be able to put it out there, I also have a newsletter that I put out, a paid newsletter. It's called Wealthy, Wise, and Whole. And it's also for Black women writers who want to be able to get back into their writing, whether you're doing it, just for your own personal writing, or you would like to be able to do more with writing a book. I'm actually an author coach, so I help people to be able to write memoirs, as well as other nonfiction books. I don't do fiction as of yet. That might be something that comes next year. But I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to do that. But right now I definitely do memoir and nonfiction. So if that's something that you would like to do, you can definitely reach out to me, and I put my email address in the description box as well. So thank you so much, ladies. I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Have a
Yeah.
beautiful week, ladies. Take care.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Love you too.